We live in a technological age that floods us with overlapping messages. A person capable of coping simultaneously with this volume of information while staying calm is highly regarded. This ability has even been rewarded with a term borrowed from computing, multitasking. You can see the benefits of this trait in Alejandro G. Iñárritu, the director behind complex productions like Birdman and The Revenant. Iñárritu openly attributes his success to ADHD. His mental approach allows him to achieve deep concentration while filming, yet switch to a state of divided attention when he needs to manage the entirety of a massive production. But take that same biological trait and place it in the rigid framework of a modern classroom, and the result changes. Let's consider a 7-year-old student named Omar. Sitting in class, Omar's brain assigns the same degree of importance to the wind rustling outside or a fly in the room as it does to his teacher's words. Because he is aware of everything at once, he often misses the lesson entirely. Yet later that day, Omar can spend hours in a burst of super concentration, successfully assembling a 10,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. This creates a puzzle of its own. We see one strategy thriving in a film studio while struggling in a classroom, suggesting the difference between success and failure might depend less on the brain itself and more on the environment it's in. To understand why Omar and Iñárritu function this way, we have to look at the brain's executive function within the human cortex. Attention operates on a continuum, much like a camera lens's aperture, determining how many messages we process. At the divided end, the aperture opens wide, making the brain simultaneously aware of numerous incoming messages. At the focused end, the aperture narrows, filtering out most messages to concentrate on just one. In most people, this adjusts naturally. But an ADHD brain defaults to the divided end, regardless of external demands like school tests. The aperture only shifts toward maximum focus when triggered by high internal motivation. This explains why Omar can completely focus on his complex puzzle, but not his teacher's lesson. The ADHD executive function maintains a strategy of wide-angle awareness, requiring a powerful internal spark to narrow the lens. Evolutionary psychology suggests that this divided attention default was once a highly desirable trait that helped promote human survival. For prehistoric hunter-gatherers, a wide attention aperture and physical hyperactivity provided a distinct advantage. Hunters who noticed every rustling leaf or faint track were highly successful. They were considered desirable mates, spreading their genes widely throughout the human population. This strategy only ran into trouble during the industrial age, when jobs shifted toward repetitive, monotonous work. These production lines demanded long periods of concentration, without the benefit of high internal motivation. Modern schooling often mirrors this industrial model. It requires a narrow focus in rigid frameworks, the exact opposite of the dynamic, message-rich environment the hunter evolved for. The label of disorder emerged only when human society changed the environment to reward unmotivated focus while penalizing the wide-angle awareness of our ancestors. Currently, the most common way society addresses this environmental mismatch is through medication, using drugs like Ritalin to force the aperture into a focused state. While these medicines are effective at creating focus, the change is temporary and can be accompanied by various side effects. There is also a functional trade-off. Improving concentration can weaken the ability to divide attention. A child might listen intently to a teacher, but then struggle during a game of football, which requires tracking many moving parts at once. However, the concept of the flexible brain suggests we can train the executive function naturally through the brain's inherent plasticity. The goal of these therapies is to practice making rapid, natural transitions between concentrating and dividing attention. Group activities like martial arts or playing an instrument in an ensemble provide the perfect environment for this practice. Drumming is particularly effective. It requires a drummer to alternate regularly between concentrating on a single drum and dividing their awareness to maintain the rhythm of the entire group. By leaning into the brain's natural flexibility, it is possible to turn what society calls a deficit back into the adaptive advantage it was always meant to be.